Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the 2025 BTCC Championship by Authentic Racing eSeries. My name is Olaf, aka Ops Racing, and I'll be your commentator for tonight as we're on to round 2 at the Oulton Park Highland layout. Tonight, unfortunately, Tom will not be able to join us for this broadcast. He should be back within 2 weeks. His power outage over here at his place, so he unfortunately unable to join us, but we still have Peter Cornelius, our race director, and of course me, ready for today's broadcast as we're going around Oulton Park Island. Before we go, just take a quick look at the standings. Of course, that is going to be the interesting part to play. Last week out, we had quite a few upsets in the end of the race. We had Josh Nesbitt take home 64 points in the lead, Thibaut Geurten with 45 points in second place, Sebastian Riquelme in third place with 43 points. And of course, there's a few drivers in the lower bracket that still have just a few points to the name. So they'll have everything to fight for. And it's all quite close in the midfield as well. Like a P9, Lewis Gilbert in 21 points. Callum Williams and Matt House with 17 points each. And then Luding Rene and Bicorn with 9 points each. So everything is still to play for. P5, B6 as well. Ollie Hutton and Ben Maskell as well with 32 points. So everyone's still quite close. And as a reminder, of a qualifying session currently going on, about 16 minutes to go. These are your drivers that are participating. You just saw a few of those, most of them already in the standings. So we have a qualifying session of about 20 minutes, and then we have 3 races, all 12 laps around this beautiful track. So we have race 1 and then race 2 with the grid for race 2 is determined by the finishing positions in race 1, and then race 3 will have a reverse grid draw. So we have a little wheel that we're going to spin, and the number that it lands on, that's the amount of positions from first place down to that number that are going to be swapped around. That always makes for an interesting race. That's what we saw last week out. Race 1 had a good race, just a very, I would say, uneventful race 1 compared to race 2. Race 2 ended on an absolute banger, and then race 3, of course, with that reverse grid, really made up for it. So with your participators currently scrolling on the screen, I can hear the cars roaring in the background around this track. I've seen lap times as low as 1 minute 22 pop up at some point in the practice session. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different. And these are just the banker laps, of course. The drivers all getting ready to put a few laps on the board, just so they are on there and they're not at the back of the grid. Once again, the cars that we have currently, the one that we're looking at is Noah Batts. You're driving the Hyundai i30. In first place currently, we have the Toyota Corolla with Bristow. Nesbitt in second place, the Ford Focus, and Thibaut Geurten with the Vauxhall Astra. Hutton behind in the Cupra Leon. And I believe we have Josh Nesbitt, the highest BMW currently, without a position. So the BMWs don't have anything yet. And then, of course, we have our beloved safety car with the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Last week out, we saw one safety car. That was with a big crash at the back of the start of the race. Currently looking at Rick Bristow, fastest guy on the track, the number 26. Currently has a 1:24.635 on the board, the only one within the 24s. And Nesbitt just starting a lap as well, currently in second place. we're now going down the final part of the track. And Bristol's being followed currently. I believe that is Riquelme. That's not is that Riquelme? It might be. They just crossed the line. Johnson actually going up to second place. Johnson was right behind. Riquelme was not there. Riquelme is driving the BMW. I'm still getting used to which drivers have which cars. And Riquelme does jump up to first place with a 24.3. So Johnson in 24.3s as well. Nesbitt just slightly off of that, so the top 3 into the 24s. That's a big pound there for the BMW. Very much pushing it to the limits. As Josh Nesbitt just puts in a 24.0. So these are closer to the lap times that we've seen in practice and we've seen the drivers get. So we're just scrolling around, just waiting for them to put in their fastest lap times. We saw the Nesbitts do very well last week. And oh, that's a bit deep for Paris. Just gone wide at this at the hairpin, I believe. Just gone a tiny bit too deep. As Thibaut Geurten puts in a 24.9, just barely below the 25s. Of course, will have his sights set on another good start. He had a very good start in the first 2 races last week out at Snetterton. This time, probably determined to gain a little bit more than what we saw in the previous outing. The Astra having to juggle the wheel a bit. Still going strong. Nesbitt not on an improvement. First sector a bit slow, half a second down. Then another 10th in sector 2 as well. So he'll be starting one more lap to see where he can put his car. And obviously, the tire heating is a thing as well. So worry about your car's conditions as you go through the track. Nesbitt, personal best on sector 2, still quite far behind in sector 1. So that first sector is really difficult apparently. Or there was some traffic, that's also possible, but from the looks of it, Nesbitt has been alone through that bit. And sector 3 looking okay as well, so losing most of the time in sector 1. And that begs the question, is the hairpin really that difficult? As Johnson has put 3/10 down on sector 2, as he's lost 3/10 in sector 1. Everything to make up for in sector 3 then. And I don't believe that was it. That's Johnson with I believe that's a 24.039 that appeared to be invalid. That's Josh Nesbitt currently on provisional pole. Sends it a little bit faster in sector 1 and sector 2, 2/10 down. So far, it's going to make a 3 as he crosses the line. So that's going to be a 23.7. There it is, 23.763. So Nesbitt, the first driver to go into the 23s, 9 minutes remaining before we start our race number 1. So remember, this is the qualifying session. That's going to set the grid for race number 1. And the results from race 1 will set the grid for race number 2. And then race number 3 will have a reverse grid order based off of the finishing positions of race 2, with a reverse grid number being drawn after race number 2. And then we get the a number between 8 and 12, or between 7 and 12, that is going to be reversed. Nesbitt just goes quicker and quicker. Cornelius has put it into the 23s now as well. So the number 1 car. Oh, this is also a BMW, so we're getting the BMWs out in the front. So we saw last week out as well. Johnson just slams it up to 3rd place. It's a purple sector 2. So that means that Nesbitt has some work to do, as the Corolla claims the fastest of that section of the track. Now Riquelme in 2nd place as well, so the BMW is kind of racking up at the front. As I was saying, that's what we're seeing, what we saw last week out as well. It's quite unfortunate. As the right rear there from Johnson just locked completely as he went through the hairpins. That rear locking was something we saw in at Snetterton as well. It's a big issue. Haven't seen as many smoke bombs here. Well, there's just one braking for the left-hander of the chicane. But yeah, not as much rear locking for now. But this is qualifying, so they're still they're pushing, but they're braking at expected moments. So this is all practiced, basically down to the letter, just making sure that you can stop where you're planning to stop. Whereas the race, you might have to brake at different points if you're battling. So we're going to see a lot more smoke bombs coming around at that point. So Riquelme currently approaching the final corner. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. That's faster than Johnson and then faster than Nesbitt as well. And where he's going to put it for sector 3, got very close, within a tenth. Now just a tenth, a half a tenth quicker than Josh Nesbitt in the final sector. So all purple, quite fast as well. As that's a car off the track. That's not where you want to be. That looks to be Bristow in 5th place. As Thibaut Geurten goes back to the pits. It's going to be putting some new tires on. Everyone's running the softs, which is going to be the talking point for today as well. So last week out that the tire rules are quite a good fit for this event. Everyone has to run a soft compound and a hard compound. You get to choose whether you race one race or 2 races on the softs or the hards. But you have to run at least 1 race on the softs and 1 race on the hards. So everyone should be opting for the softs in the first race, because if you finish in the top 3, you will have to start race 2 on the hards. So whatever chance you have of finishing in the top 3, you will be forced onto the hards if you make that finish. Bristow just stationary on the side of the track. That's at the exit of the entry of turn 2. He has been there for about a minute now. And I don't think if he makes it back, he'll be able to improve a little bit still. But for now, 5th place. It's 1:24.496. Currently pole position in the hands of this man, Sebastian Riquelme, 23.7. And he is making his way through the final sector. Currently right ahead, right behind Cornelius. As Josh Nesbitt, see where he's at. Currently green, sector 2. Bit of a slower sector 1. Very close to his delta. Might have even grabbed a little slipstream there from Paris. Over the line, a small delta. That's all you need realistically. And that's pole position for now. 4 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Just under a tenth away is Riquelme. So that is still very much possible. 0.08 of a second. So big improvements further down the grid. We see Thibaut Geurten having a small loss just a moment ago, but that sector 1 completed and a few tenths up on his time already. Ben Nesbitt also increasing. Lewis Gilbert getting close to finishing his lap, and he has gained a few tenths already, so he's jumped up to 11th place. The 1:25.830. But Thibaut Geurten, a banger of a lap at the moment. Johnson losing some time. It appears that he has a car in front of it, and that looks to be let's see who that is. Seems to be, let's see. Well, as he slows it down, looks to be Noah Batts in 13th. That's a slowdown from Johnson. I want to retake his moment. Cool down the tires. Oh, well, that's very much cooling down as he's onto the grass. So Johnson backing out of his lap, going lawn mowing for a moment. Geurten, the previous lap, did set a personal best. But I don't think he got a position off of that. That's currently 6th for the Vauxhall Astra. And Johnson just going slowly around the chicane. Not sure what the strategy is here, but nevertheless, Josh Nesbitt on the start of a new lap. So the timing that you're seeing is not correct. So the 1 minute into the 2 minutes is not correct. He has just started his lap about 30 seconds ago. Currently on an improvement. So the ending of Sector 1 right about here. That's a 10th already. He's right behind Paris. Currently inhabiting 14th place. And the Hyundai getting out of the way. So Nesbitt can do his lap. There we saw Johnson to the side of the road. And Nesbitt trying to claim that pole position. It's a purple Sector 2 as well. 10th and a half already gained. Riquelme is on a run, but not a very quick one at the moment. Last lap a 24.4. Slower than his previous fastest. Nesbitt coming around over the line. That's a 23.488. That solidifies his pole position. It's very nice as Ben Nesbitt goes into 5th. So father and son currently 5th and 1st. 24.3 for Ben Nesbitt in the Ford Focus. A car that we haven't really seen too much yet. Ben putting that one on the top 5. Qualifying final minute. The drivers starting a lap can finish their lap, and everyone else in the pits is at the position or their lap time solidified. So William Johnson in 4th, half a second down in pole position. Bristow, Gurton, Hutton, Gilbert, Hayes, all having their positions solidified. Riquelme, the only driver really, realistically, to fight for pole position, needs just over 2 tenths. And the Delta hovering around what he needs, but will he get it? Well, that's just barely not. It's 23.635. That's just a tenth and a half away from pole position. As Cornelius goes in as well. So Riquelme will be handed that 2nd place spot. Ben Nesbitt is on an improvement. That will not put him anything higher than what he's currently at. From the looks of it, he's going to cross on the line. That's not an improvement on his lap time. So Ben Nesbitt in 5th. And Josh Nesbitt on pole position with Sebastian Riquelme in 2nd place. Josh Cornelius in 3rd. Johnson 4th. Nesbitt in 5th place. Bristow's got 6th. Thibaut Hurt in 7th. Ollie Hutton in 8th. Madsby in 9th. Sewald in the last place of the top 10. So Riquelme still going around. Doesn't look... oh, he did actually get across the line before the checkered flag was out. So he's able to finish his lap, I believe. So 1 more corner to go. He should... Oh, there it is. That's a little bit too much pushing on that final corner. Over the sand, over the grass, and track limits. Back to the pits you go. That is qualifying over. Your grid for race 1 all set. And Josh Nesbitt taking pole position, and Sebastian Riquelme holding 2nd place. Now Paris still stationary on the side of the road. He's going to be starting in 14th place for today. So that 3-race format is going to be an interesting one. Really shook things up last week in the Snetterton race. We had about 9 laps of racing. Currently a little bit of a shorter track. So less places to make mistakes, but also less places to plan your overtakes. Luckily we're getting a few more laps. 12 pieces per race. So that's going to be an interesting one. So Nesbitt lining up on pole position. Riquelme in second place. That's going to be the your front row. That's going to be an interesting one as well. We saw Riquelme get off the line quite badly in race number 1, because that is one of the problems that these cars were having, is that when you're stationary just a bit too long for that starting grid, it might be difficult to get off the line. So we had a lot of cars fall back at the start. The countdown is currently running, so just a few more minutes before we head on to race number 1. Remember, all of these drivers will have some sort of boost to their name. The higher you are in the standings, the less boost you will get throughout the race. And you get to use it in specific scenarios. So the drivers in front in the standings will only get to use the boost once, maybe for only a second, but the drivers further down the championship are able to get that boost and use that a bit more generously, more laps and more seconds per lap as well. Now this is one of the tracks that has it a little bit shorter, so that means that you get less laps and less usage of that boost. That boost will give you the power to make an overtake on the straight, and we have a few straights on this track where you should be able to use it after the chicane, for example. The long left-hander should have a good run there right before the final corner as well, and of course before and after the hairpin. So we are looking through the grid. Josh Nesbitt in first place, Sebastian Riquelme on the right-hand side, and on the left, Josh Cornelius, followed by William Johnson in the Toyota Corolla. Ben Nesbitt in the Ford Focus puts it into 5th place. Right behind that, we have Bristow in the Toyota Corolla. Thibaut Geurten only 7th, looking for a come-up. Ollie Hutton consistently in the midfield, looking for a good result here as well, as we saw last week. At the end of race number 2, Begorn in 9th, Sewalt in 10th. We've got a Hyundai train, so Gilbert in 11th place, Noah Batz in 12th, and then Callum Paris with the last Hyundai in 13th. Then we have Ethan Hayes with the Ford Focus in 14th place. So we're counting down the final minute before the race 1 start, and the grid is looking mighty fine. Everyone opting for the softs besides Ollie Hutton and Gilbert, and I think Noah Batz is also on the hard. So 3 drivers opting for the hard compound, trying to get that out of the way. Probably thinking we can't reach the top 3 anyway, so we might as well use the hard tire now. Hope for a good result for race number 1, and then get back up for race number 2. And of course in race 3, use another soft compound. The lights are in place, and the reds are coming on now. We're waiting for the signal, and we're green at Oulton Park, and already looks like we have a penalty for a jump start. That's of course nothing good. We already have some few minor collisions as we see Josh Nesbitt taking the lead still out of turn number 1. A few cars going wide, actually. That's never good. Big shuffles there for Paris, going all the way down the grid. Bristow is off as well. Looks like Hutton has lost a place off the start, and Geurten up too, as he's taking it back. And that is the off tracks. That's a lot of cars off the track at the end of turn number 2. All we know is that Nesbitt is out in first, Riquelme in second, Cornelius in third, and Ben Nesbitt following quite closely. The top 4 loose from the rest of this gaggle of cars that are apparently having a lot of trouble going through these corners, all side by side, a little bit further up ahead as well. The top 4 quite clean. Good stuff from Josh Nesbitt and these BMWs doing their work. Ben Nesbitt up a place from 5th, now up to 4th place. This will be all quite neatly done by the 116 Ford Focus. So we've seen the minimap on the track map on the top right hand side of your screen. You see 1 through 4, and the 4th number being yellow, being blue. The 4th car being yellow, the number being blue. That's the car that we're looking at right now. Callum Paris currently in 5th place. A good start, actually. Dropped down quite fast after turn number 1, but recovered from all the incidents in turn number 2. Bristow and Johnson right behind them in the Toyota Corollas. and they're looking for something that's quite quick there through these corners. Bristow backing off a little bit now. But they were very, very close, and there seems to be some more collisions going on in the back. That's Ollie Hutton making 1-2 places on the Corollas, going on the inside and taking home 6th place after turn number 1. The Callum Paris is completely clean. Probably used that boost of his to get away from this fight. Ollie Hutton might have used his as well to get through this pack. And there we have the pack. Looks like he's escaping something. Gilbert upper place. Gerten dropping back all the way down to 14th. Has got the hard compound. As Madsby has taken the drive-through penalty from jumping the start. And there's a contact between the drivers. That's Gilbert off. And Pecorn also losing a lot of track time and track space. Johnson now back up to 13th. Big look to the inside there, but it looks like the Ford is going to hold on. That's Ethan Hayes holding on to the position. That's currently P10. And Thibaut Gerten having a look. He's going to be stuck behind for just a moment longer. The boosts all being used quite generously. You see the leader, Josh Nesbitt, strolling away with it. That's one of the first lockups we've seen so far. As Bristow takes P7 away from Ollie Hutton. Undoubtedly with a bit of boost on his hands as well. So Hutton already having that boost used. Callum Paris puts down the fastest lap of anyone so far. Currently in 5th place. And the purple sectors are being traded around. We see Sector 1 for Riquelme, Sector 2 for Cornelius, Sector 3 for Bristow, but the fastest lap overall is in the hands of Callum Paris. The Hyundai i30 doing a mega job as Hayes is slowing down. He's dropped down to 14th place. And that might have been a mistake, as Pecorn has gained a few places, up to 10th place now. It's a very good start on his end. Cornelius has got a visitor from behind. That's Ben Nesbitt. Gained 1 spot off the start and is now running real close to Josh Cornelius. And the number 1 car currently sitting in 3rd place, holding onto that podium spot. And might want to take his opportunity here to hold that, get that hard tire out of the way. Because if you finish in the top 3, that means you're starting in the top 3 for race number 2. And we've had 3 laps done so far. And everyone still quite close. That's Riquelme in the wall. That's not Riquelme in the wall. That's Noah Bantz in the wall. Riquelme taking the fastest lap. And Noah Bantz just trundling down the order. So they're approaching the final part of the track. Ethan Hayes right behind him, trying to pick up a piece. Bantz still holding on to 13th. Good recovery. Not to lose too much. Ollie Hutton currently in 7th. In no man's land, seemingly. He's got quite some space ahead, about 4 seconds, and 5 seconds behind. So it's going to be very quiet until someone decides to use some boost. Paris also has a visitor. That's Bristow, who's trying to look around the outside, very much on the inside for Paris over the grass. And Bristow being left behind. No way he can make that happen. Onto the chicane. Small look towards the inside for Paris. Was looking to be a little bit defensive. That's a big lockup for Paris up ahead. So they're following Bristow around the final sector of the track. Again, that rear lockup quite prominent. Big hit in the back of the car for Bristow as well, from the looks of it. That Corolla has seen better days. But unfortunately, no repairs during this race. No pit stops. 3 small sprints of about 15 to 20 minutes each. Nesbitt currently in 4th, looking for that podium spot. We see Riquelme, Cornelius, and Ben Nesbitt quite close to each other, and Josh Nesbitt getting away with it quite quickly. Over 2 seconds of a gap currently from 2nd to 1st, as Riquelme has drifted away a tiny bit. Cornelius and Nesbitt currently in their fight for that final podium spot. Bit deep there for Nesbitt. Tries to recover from the hairpin. Already up 1 place. Wants to make it more. Of course, claiming that podium will mean mandatory hard tire for race number 2. That might slow you down a little bit to go towards the bottom of the top 10. And then you get reverse gridded and put back up to the front. Nesbitt now dangerously close for Cornelius as they're heading out to the final sector of the track. 2 corners to go for the start finish line. In the end of lap number 5, small look from Nesbitt. Cornelius still too far ahead, about 2/10. This is it, defensive move from Cornelius. Nesbitt on the outside. Right-hander is quite low speed. You should be able to send it around the outside if you hold on to it, but Ben Nesbitt a little bit too wide. Had to slow it down, and Cornelius holding on to the place. As Josh Nesbitt holds on to the fastest lap, and that is Riquelme dropping down 2 places. For now, Riquelme recovering 1 after Nesbitt. Bit too much of a lockup on the rears there. Going into turn number 1. There might have been a boost from Cornelius and Nesbitt at play. Riquelme slowing down. These 3 now not fighting for P3, but fighting for P2. We just crossed the halfway mark of the race. So a big lockup out of turn number 1. Heading on to the left-hander of turn 2. Fastest lap currently a 26.2 for the number 123 car. And Gilbert fighting around the important positions as Cornelius and Riquelme are fighting. Riquelme back up to 2nd place. It's out of the chicane. And they're going in tandem through this final section of the track. The Spanish driver holding for now still the top 3 into the BMW section of the car selection. As Masby takes back P13 from Noah Bad, so that drive-through penalty hitting hard, but still luckily he can take a place. And remember, between 7th and 12th is the reverse grid order, so it means that anyone fighting around those places might just get pole position for race number 3. Of course, your finishing position for race 1 will be your starting position for race number 2. So finishing around those positions now will mean that you should have a good fight for at least those places. Noah Bouts in 14th might have a look for it as well. So 14th currently might mean 12th in race 2. And that might mean pole position. That's always a good opportunity to take a victory. As Ethan Hayes just goes past as well. And remember, the further down you are in the championship, the more you can use the boost. And that's something to keep these drivers equalized, as Josh Nesbitt is anything but equal, currently 8 seconds ahead of Riquelme. He's in a league of his own. Fastest lap on the previous lap at 23.965. The only driver to go into the 23s. Riquelme the only one to go into the 24s. Everyone else 25s and slower. So that is definitely a good sign that Nesbitt and Riquelme are the fastest on the track at the moment. Riquelme released a little bit as Cornelius has got Nesbitt right behind him. Heading on to lap number 9. Lap number 8, I should say. Sometimes it shows the laps completed. This says that we are currently on lap 8. Johnson, a little bit close with Thibaut Geurten. Well, has a look into the final corner. Backs out of it. Johnson not going too quickly through this. Geurten might have a good run out of this. Small slipstream, maybe a small press of the boost. But remember, Geurten is quite high up in the championship standings. So it might not be a useful boost. He might not have the boost on his hands. Looks like Johnson does have that boost. It's a bit quicker now through the first sector of the track. Going off to the hairpin. That's an early break from Johnson. Geurten came quite close that time around. Remember, Geurten's on the hards. She's got a small disadvantage in terms of tire compound. So he goes for Hutton, who's taking it out of the way already. And the 4th position would be perfect, but that is about 20 seconds up the road. As the top 3, top 4 have been quite quick all evening. Especially Nesbitt. or the Nesbits, I should say. Josh Nesbitt out in first, 9-second gap. Absolute domination so far in race number 1. That means he's going to be put on the hard compound for race number 2. That will mean that he's going to slow down a tiny bit for the second part of this event. Then Kelme and Cornelius possibly joining in. Ben Nesbitt wanting to be one of those drivers as well. So Hutton, Gerten and Gilbert and Baats having their hard compound race out of the way. A round to forget for Baats. He'll start on the back of the grid for race number 2. I mean, it's not over yet. He still has some time to get back. The hard compound, of course, being a little bit more difficult to drive. The soft, that small advantage. And if you're Ben Nesbitt, you might be wondering what's going to be the strategy for race number 2. If you're finishing in 4th place, as it looks like it's going to be, he still has the chance to overtake Cornelius, but let's say he finishes in 4th. You have to think about, am I still going to run the hard compound in race number 2? Or am I going to go get the softs to get a good position, a good finish for race number 2? But that means that you're starting way further back for race number 3. If you take the hards, you've got less chance of getting the overtakes done, because then you lose that advantage on the top 3. So it's quite a strategy for the driver that finishes in 4th, especially if they're this close, like Cornelius and Nesbitt are. So 3/4 of the race done. We're heading on to the final order of race number 1. A few places still to be swapped. P3 is one of those spots. We're looking at 5 for P6, 7, 8, maybe 9 as well. From Ollie Hutton all the way down to Thibaut Gerten, as they are quite close still. And everyone else, maybe Bicorn and Gilbert, will have a little swap for P10. Those are also important positions to have. Like I said, the reverse grid, the start of race number 3, will of course have great impact. Gilbert just a little bit too far away, 1.5 seconds from Bicorn. The number 80 car not able to get anything done so far. Cornelius still has his mirrors full of Nesbitt. This has been going for the past 4 or 5 laps already. Rakelme has quietly snuck away. Cornelius just puts down his personal best, fastest lap, 24.8, 24.6. That is. I was going to say need glasses, but already got them. Might need some new ones. Cornelius then in 3rd place, followed by Ben Nesbitt. The duo quite far ahead of Bristow in the Toyota Corolla. Currently in 5th place, so about 13 seconds down to 5th. And Johnson now quick enough to outpace everyone up to Cornelius. Just that the gaps ahead are a bit big, about 2 seconds now. So that means he's got some work to do in the final 2 laps of the race, if he wants to get that overtake. Noticeably, only one Vauxhall Corsa Astra on the track. That's Thibaut Gerten. We had some unfortunate quick exits right before the event. Some storm warnings, of course, around the northwest of Europe, the Netherlands, the UK. We've all had them. And some drivers, unfortunately, not able to be here, just like Tom, our pundit for tonight, not able to make it as he lost power through an outage. And of course, some of the drivers will have that same issue. So unfortunately, we'll have a few less drivers. That's only going to make things more interesting later on. So one Astra driver, currently Thibaut Gerten, is on the last lap. And Ben Nesbitt still holding on to that 4th place, maybe looking for the special place to overtake to make sure that Cornelius can't get him back. But Nesbitt, Josh Nesbitt, 10.5 seconds ahead, has already passed Noah Baats and Ethan Hayes. Running a race on his own, 10.5 seconds ahead of P2. Almost taking out a second a lap on average to the guys behind. So one more corner and he'll be taking the victory of race number 1. And we'll start race number 2 on the hards. New tires definitely that he needs after those those lockups in the final turn. With an 11-second lead, dominant victory by Josh Nesbitt. He's across the line to 12 laps. I was going to say of hard fighting, but it had to be quite easy for him. Riquelme in second place. And then Cornelius still holding on to third, meaning those three will start on the hard compound for race number 2. And Ben Nesbitt in fourth with the most difficult choice of the weekend so far. Bristow will take home 5th for this first third of the evening. And Hutton in the Cupra. Also the only Cupra that we have on track today. We'll get 6th. So Oulton Johnson right behind each other for 7th and 8th. That's quite close. Still even as well. Thibaut Geurten with 9th place. To his name, Becorn, Gilbert, and Masby will get 10th, 11th, and 12th. Paris 13th. Ethan Hayes and Noah Batts already crossing the line before, after they were lapped by Josh Nesbitt, who's basically shown a tremendous pace on this event. At 23.555 being the fastest lap. That comes close to the qualifying laps as well. That means that he has been pushing this car to its absolute limit during the race. The first event now officially over as Callum Paris crosses the line. So Nesbitt, Josh Nesbitt, Riquelme, and Cornelius forced on the hards. Ollie, Hutton, Thibaut Geurten, and Gilbert and Noah Batts all have their hard tire used, so they can go onto the softs for the rest of the evening. It's of course going to be a big relief. Nesbitt's brakes are currently smoking. Must be as he was on fire for this first event. So that concludes the first round of the first race of round 2. The Oulton Park Island layout. Here we see the left-hand turn that the drivers are not taking. Having that little shortcut up the hill onto the hairpin, or onto the chicane, I should say, and onto the back section of the track. A beautiful track as well. Really like driving here. It's also good to see the drivers have their fun around here. At least Josh Nesbitt is. Well, I mean, it's always fun winning a race, but having this big of a lead over the rest of the grid, it's got to be a little bit lonely towards the end. We're getting our HEMS allocation, our hybrid energy mode. We're gonna get our every driver will get their allocation based on the driver standings. And it all has to be done manually, so we take sometimes in the middle of these races to get the drivers the stuff they need. The hard compound, of course, having to be used once, with the soft compound being allowed for 2 out of the 3 events that way. One thing I didn't touch upon yet is the weather. Still quite good weather. Wasn't too sunny, a little bit cloudy, as is expected from the UK. So the drivers having to work a little bit harder to warm up the tires, and that might explain why the hards weren't really the tire to use at the moment. We saw Noah Batts drop down the order with that tire. Probably not liking the hards, and we'll be running the softs for the rest of the evening. And that should be a good showing. So the start of the race, quite eventful. Everyone got off the line quite well, I think. But I think turn 1 and turn 2 quite disastrous. for a lot of drivers, giving them the top 4 plenty of room to run away. Of course, Josh Nesbitt running away with the lead and then just not returning it at any place. So drivers currently having their post-race one talk. And the first comment that we're seeing is it ain't bumper cars from Thibaut Geurten, who's probably been pushed around in the middle of all that, lost all those positions. As we have a small 3-minute break in between. I'm gonna give myself a small break as well now. Just a minute or two to grab myself a little bit of water. As usually, I've got Tom by my side. That's the video, so I'm off anyway. And we're back with the roar of the cars in the background, just waiting for the race to start. Josh Nesbitt claiming the victory, and in turn being pushed to the front of the grid on the hard compound. Sebastian Riquelme right behind in the number 16 BMW, lining alongside in second place. Cornelius taking home third place, will have the hard compound as well. Ben Nesbitt has opted for the hard compound as well, as indicated by the green line there. Bristow in 5th, Ollie Hutton in 6th, Sewald in 7th place, followed by Johnson, Thibaut Geurten, Becorn, and Gilbert for the top 11. Paris on the right-hand side of the screen disappearing just now. Ethan Hayes, Noah Bantz will be at the back, and right behind him is going to be Mesby. The lights are on. And Mesby's in 13th. Telemetry a little bit messed up there, but no bounce at the back there on the soft compound. 6 lights are on. The engines are roaring, and we have a start for Josh Nesbitt. Pulls away over to the left-hand side to cover off anything that Riquelme might be able to do. Cornelius quite quickly there as well. That's a bad start for Ben Nesbitt, as he's been overtaken by Bristow, who's just taken P4 away from him. As Thibaut Geurten has also dropped down 1 place, as Bristow's had a very good start at top 3 on the hards, Nesbitt as well. Sewald is up for the hard tire as well, as basically half the grid. Mesby, Johnson, and Paris and Hayes also going for that hard compound, meaning that only a few select drivers have to use that hard compound in the last race. And that's a car around, that's Cornelius, who sideways has to recover, and his hard compound race going down in the dumpster, as Riquelme takes the lead of the race. As Josh Nesbitt holds the 2nd place. 2 BMWs now in the top 3. The 3rd place is on to Bristow. It's a Toyota Corolla. Still quite close to everyone on the track. Many drivers lagging behind Cornelius from an incident, and Ollie Hutton undoubtedly as well. We get a slower start to the race. Currently the top 3, well, that's a big send there, deep there for Bristow into the final turn. It's going to cost him a tiny bit. Once more, the boost can be used on the straights. Some drivers like to use it early to get it out of the way, and some drivers like to use it defensively. Again, a big braking zone there for Bristow. Somehow survives alongside Nesbitt, gets the exit, and gets past. A bit of a late move there from Riquelme, but covering off the outside line as is permitted. New rule has been added this weekend, as the drivers will have to have overlap in order to have an overtake allowed. Bristow now, another big send, gets the car stopped in time, and good rotation. Of course, that Toyota having a smaller turning radius than the BMW, being a bigger car. A bit longer as well, if you see the wheelbases of these cars. And Bristow taking the advantage of that, and also with the soft tire, just has a bit more pace in that car. As Thibaut Geurten has made his way up to 4th place, dropping Ben Nesbitt on that hard compound 2 to 3 seconds behind him. Now Bristow's got the pace and the tire to make up for a little bit of lost time. He's past the leaders, is now up in 1st place and cleanly away after the 2nd lap. And Thibaut Geurten now past Josh Nesbitt. Our pole sitter, Riquelme, under attack next. So look towards the inside already for Geurten. Doesn't get the position just yet. We do see Noah Batz having a little slowdown. So Ollie Hutton reclaims a few spots. It looks like Paris is stationary somewhere. And yeah, there he is. That's Callum Paris. Is off the track. This is turn number 2. So we see Bristow, Riquelme, Geurten, and Nesbitt just go right on through. It's the 2nd turn of the race. Paris now a full lap behind already. It's going to be the hard compound already done. Thibaut Geurten taking 2nd place, but that's off. That's Thibaut off in the barriers. That's the hairpin a little bit too deep, I think. And it's Thibaut, the number 50 Vauxhall Astra, into the barriers, has recovered, but is currently in 9th place. It's another soft tire used. I believe he was on, might have been on the hards last time in race number 1. But this soft race really coming undone. It looked like he had a very good start there to follow Bristow through and claim an easy 2nd place. But now he's back down to 9th, has to recover his way through. These 3, Riquelme, Nesbitt, and Nesbitt, still in the same fight that they were in race number 1. But now Josh Nesbitt is taking the place of Cornelius, who's still in 13th place. The hard tire not coming alive. Ethan Hayes feeling the same problem. As Callum Paris is sat in the pits at the moment. And Riquelme trying to defend from Nesbitt behind. Or the Nesbitts, I should say. Josh leading Ben 3rd and 4th at the moment. Josh really looking for an inside line. Just doesn't have the pace to get there. And the hard's just a bit too slow. Bristow now 2.5 seconds ahead. Going into the hairpin. Big look around the outside there for Josh Nesbitt. Had the place momentarily, but that is a small contact, I believe, onto Riquelme by turning in. Fortunately, both drivers only getting away with a small tap. That was just a slight collision between the two. Of course, rubbing is racing. That's what someone in some broadcast said once, so I have to repeat it every single time it happens. So Rick Bristow using the softs to the best of his ability. Lewis Gilbert has got the fastest lap of the race so far. He's up to 5th place now, chasing down these 3. As the Nesbitts are having a bit of trouble. There we have him. It's Gilbert right behind. Ben Nesbitt looking on the inside. Big lockups once more for Josh. His tire is not really liking those moves. It's going to be difficult for him to catch back up. Might have used the boost there. That's the gap that he's created towards Ben behind him. And Gilbert on the softs, claiming some space. Left Sebald behind about 3 seconds. Now it has to look ahead. Maybe claim position. He's lost some ground already. Should be right around these lands already. Bristow quite far ahead. Again, Bacor now trying to make his way through. There's been an incident now with Oulton and Bacor, I believe, as they're dropping down the order. That's Bacor in 11th. And Ollie Hutton just going on through. We see another collision with Cornelius and Bats in the hairpin as well. So still a very dangerous part of the track, that hairpin. So its drivers getting caught out there. Still some good fighting though at the top and in the midfield. Fight for 7th and 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Still going strong. So Masby getting past a little bit. Leaving Johnson behind to fight with Sewald. Just lost a few spots. A little bit of time. And that's Ben Nesbitt a little bit wide, with Gilbert having his sights set on this fight. Like I said, he's also in this for the podium place. But Ben recovering nicely from a small send too deep. That's a big lockup for Ben. Gilbert as well. Very close to contact, the right-hander coming up now. This is the part where we had the collisions a moment ago. This time around, getting nothing but clean lines. The big red light on the back of the car. A boost indication. Thibaut Geurten also on the softs, joining this fight. So Gilbert is being restricted by the guys ahead. They're on the hards, and if you can't get past, then you can't get past. So Geurten now joining up with these guys. If anyone's seen the Monaco Formula 1 race this year, you know exactly how bad it can be when you can't get past anyone. Josh Nesbitt is trying to do exactly that, get past Riquelme. Doesn't do so, but loses the place to Ben. So Ben is now up to 3rd place. He's going to be looking to get past a very defensive Riquelme into turn number 1. A bit deep, but the run around the outside can work if you get the space. Space is being given, holds it on to the line. That's Ben Nesbitt passed for 2nd place. Riquelme down to 3rd, and Josh from 2nd down to 4th. It's the 116 car. Makes an absolute steamer of a move halfway through race number 2 and gets 2nd place out of it. Holds it into the hairpin, and I should have that one solidified for at least a moment. Riquelme looking feisty though, and the fight just increasing. It was a 3-man fight, it's now a 5-man fight. Thibaut Geurten has now officially joined this battle. And Gilbert being stuck between this. Almost contact with Nesbitt up ahead. Josh a little bit slower. The guys ahead of him. So there's a small gap being created between 3rd and 4th. Gilbert looking to capitalize on this. A slow Josh Nesbitt up ahead. Slow pole sitter and a slow race winner. That's an overtake that you want to get. Of course, these guys all on the hard compound. And Rick Bristow still leading away with it as Riquelme 2nd place back. And Ben Nesbitt dropping down to 4th. Thibaut Geurten now past Gilbert as they're still fighting. It's going to be side by side over the start finish line. Ben Nesbitt officially in 4th. It still has that wheel alongside. Not anymore. So that corner is towards Josh Nesbitt. And Gilbert still ahead of Geurten. So Ben doesn't have the car alongside, has to back out. I started the sentence somewhere about the overlap, and that's the new rule that they added from this round. So that means that the front axle of the car will have to be alongside or past the rear axle of the car ahead in the braking zone in order to have an overlap, and that will decide a lot of things in the stewarding room after the race. So that's what we're looking at all the time. Thibaut Geurten now with that overlap on Gilbert and maybe on Ben as well. So there is the overlap. The space is given Gilbert a little bit too deep. So Thibaut Geurten now getting past Nesbitt as well. So that's 2 places gained in one small part of the track. So that's on the entry of the chicane past Gilbert, and then through the chicane past Ben Nesbitt as well. So that's good stuff from Thibaut Oulton, who needs the finish here, who needs the points. And then Nesbitt's notoriously quick as well. Currently in third and fifth. Remember, the reverse grid still happening for race number 3. We have a live draw on screen. For anyone throwing commentator's curse my way, just know that my hands are off the keyboard, my hands are off the mouse. Have been this entire time. I'm not controlling anything that we're seeing. I'm not controlling anything from the draw either, as Johnson gets past Gilbert. That's interesting to see, because that's a hard compound, getting past the soft. So that might mean that the softs are running out, and that we are seeing a little bit of a little bit more pace from the hards coming out. Well, that just means that Gilbert might have some damage that his car is not liking. Bristow now 6.5 second advantage over Riquelme, who's still fighting with Josh Nesbitt and Thibaut Oulton, with Ben Nesbitt right behind. That's Oulton a bit too deep, I believe. He's off the track just ahead of this fight. Johnson might be in it still for 5th place. The reverse grid will put him down 1 place if he does make that overtake. Of course, the points on your board are a little bit more important than getting a starting position for race number 3. And so everyone's fighting for these positions. They know they're going to be swapped back. They know if they gain a place, they'll lose 1 on the start for race number 3. But no one cares. Everyone wants those points. Points in the pocket is always better than the chance for points. Riquelme knows that. Wants to hold on to that 2nd place as long as he possibly can, while Thibaut Oulton is closing in. The gap to 1st place still increasing, as we're on to lap number 10, 3 laps to go. And Calaparis, unfortunately, not able to get up to 1st place. He's in the pits, hasn't completed the race. You need to complete at least 75% of the race. That's what we just finished. 9 laps out of 12. You have to complete 75% of the race in order to get the points. So Callum Paris will unfortunately not get points for this race, as I believe will happen below 12th place anyway. Everyone else will get those points. So Cornelius taking home that 1 final point. And Josh Nesbitt trying to find that 2nd place, as Riquelme is holding on quite well. Ben Nesbitt putting down the pressure too. Thibaut Oulton still in 5th. So that soft tire definitely running out a tiny bit. Bristow just being very quick and capitalizing on the guys behind battling. And that looked to be very upset from Ben Nesbitt. A slow exit might mean the loss of a place. That's the overlap that we talked about. Just a little bit past the rear axle was the front axle of Thibaut Oulton. So he will have the overlap, the brake, and that is parking on the apex, getting past Ben Nesbitt. So Thibaut Oulton up to 4th place. As William Johnson is right behind us as well, seeing the mistake from Ben Nesbitt. Wants to get a place for himself. He is on the hard compound, so that would be a great win if he does get that. 2 more laps. Meaning it's this one and then 1 more. A bit too deep for Johnson. And he's off the track. That's going to lose him some more places as Gilbert is through, Hutton is through, and he's off the track. Taking the off-road, trying to recover. Mesby through. Sewald on his way. Johnson does get ahead. The fight for 5th place now makes it a survival for 9th. Cornelius has Noah Batz right behind him. Batz not having the greatest first race, but now recovering with that soft tire. So the hards absolutely not working for him. Now he's able to fight, even though it's towards the back of the grid. 12th place is possible to be swapped for pole position. So Cornelius would rather hold on to this one for the possibility to get in that pole position, and Batz fighting with everything that he has for the possibility of that pole position. So the final lap has been started. Bristow, just absolute domination so far up ahead. 8.5 seconds ahead of Riquelme. Just leaving the fight behind, and it is quite close now, a little bit further back. Riquelme, small bit clean. Josh Nesbitt under attack from Thibaut Oulton. who's got Ben Nesbitt right behind him. So alongside are the 99 and the 50 car. Who's going to come ahead on the edge of this hairpin? Looks like Oulton has got the outside line, not the traction though. That's Josh Nesbitt still ahead. The exit might be Oulton's though, as they're heading towards the chicane, and we've seen some overtakes here that should not be possible. There was the overlap, but there is the position for Josh Nesbitt, who holds on to it. 2 more braking zones before the start-finish line, before the checkered flag and the end of the race. Riquelme happy with what's happening here. Oulton now taking the place away from Josh Nesbitt. He's got 1 more braking zone to make up for it. 1 more corner that Bristow's just taking. He's going to be getting that checkered flag. That's Ben trying to go for a place as well into the final corner, as Ben is along the outside. We'll hold on to it for now. That's onto the grass. It's going to slow him down a tiny bit. Oulton taking him 3rd place, and Josh Nesbitt barely holding on to 4th. So that was almost 2 places lost. At your podium, Rick Bristow with the victory. Riquelme in 2nd. Thibaut Oulton just 1/10 in 3rd. Josh Nesbitt in 4th place. Ben Nesbitt in 5th. Also barely taking that 4th, maybe even 3rd. Gilbert in 6th. Oulton will be 7th. Masby 8th. Johnson 9th. These are the drivers that might have been swapped, might get swapped to pole position. Sebald to 10th. Picorn 11th. Cornelius holds on to 12th. And Bats 13th place. Ethan Hayes rounding that final turn to get 14th. But Rick Bristow, the 26th Toyota Corolla, grabbing the victory for race number 2, which means that he'll be put to a very specific place on the grid. The place that we are getting, or that he is getting, is going to be decided live on the broadcast. We'll have a little wheel on the screen that's going to indicate what position Rick Bristow will get and which position will get pole position for race number 3. So remember the order: Bristow in 1st. And now the draw for the reverse grid. Let's see who is going to take home pole position. And it looks like we're landing on 8, which means that Masby will be getting pole position. Ollie Hutton lining up in 2nd place. And Rick Bristow kind of moving down to 8th place. So the new grid should be Masby, Hutton, Gilbert, Nesbitt, Ben Nesbitt, that is, Josh Nesbitt, Thibaut Oulton, Riquelme, and Bristow. And then further down, Johnson, Sewald, Picorn, Cornelius, Bats, Hayes, and Paris. So the top 8 will be reversed. We'll have a small intermission as well, once more between these races. So the grid will be moved. And Masby will take that pole position. So with the race 3 being underway in just a minute time, we'll get a quick look at our reverse grid, and it looks like our reverse grid is a little bit too reversed. We should have Mesby on pole position, but it looks like, well, looks fit. We currently have a complete reverse grid with Hayes in first and as Bats in second place. So that means that we have a full reverse grid. I believe we have a, well, so apologies for the second intermission. We had a small issue with the grid not being properly reversed, but now we should have our proper reverse grid with Masby out in first place, Ollie Houghton in second on the front row of the grid for this third race of the evening. A little bit further back, we have Gilbert in third place, Ben Nesbitt in fourth, Josh Nesbitt in fifth. Thibaut Geurten already having his headlights on as it's getting a little bit darker from the looks of it. Sebastian Riquelme with the BMW right alongside for 7th place. Rick Bristow, victor of race number 2, will having 8th place handed to him. Then the rest is as finished behind them. We have Sewald in 9th, Becorn 10th, Cornelius 11th, and Noah Bouts in 12th, Ethan Hayes in 15th. 13th it's showing for me, but it is apparently a different order. We're looking at Bristow in 8th, Johnson in 9th, Sewald 10th, Becorn 11th, Cornelius 12th, Bouts 13th, Ethan Hayes in 14th, and Callum Paris in 15th place. That is your order. My telemetry is a little bit messed up because that is, of course, not taking the grid position as it stands. That is a little bit of a different order. So apologies. The standing that you see on the left-hand side of the screen should be the correct one, with, of course, a safety car not being counted, which means that Masby will have the first place. It will have the pole position. The lights on, engines revved, as the lights are starting to go on for the final time at Oulton Park tonight. Round 2 of the BTCC 2025 Championship from ARS is a go. Very long red lights at the start. Looks like everyone got away quite well. That's Ollie Hutton on the outside line. Should have some good run on Mesby, who knocks it off to the inside line and says, "This is my corner." That's Ben Nisbet holding on to it. A beautiful drift. Not something you want to see at the start of the race. That is a good line being taken there as he's alongside the Hyundai of Gilbert, trying to hold on to 4th place. So the number 80 car being optimistic off the start. Just barely not getting alongside. We'll have the inside line for the hairpin. Just not getting that. A little bit wide there for Ben. And as a car off the line, that's Bristow. Bristow into the hairpin, the number 26 car, recovering. He's got sent safely on the back of his car, and he did do it safely. That's a big loss of position from 8th down to 14th now. It looks like Gilbert is dropping some places as well in the middle of the pack. Now down to 7th place as Josh Nesbitt has taken the lead. Ollie Hutton now in 2nd place. Mesby down to 5th. Our pole sitter for race number 3 a little bit further down. Bristow forced into the hards after not serving his 1 hard tire compound race. That's going to be a problem. We saw drivers complain. I heard drivers complain about the compound, about it just being not it. Very difficult to get up to temperature and very difficult to drive as well on the brakes as Riquelme gets past Hutton for 2nd place. That's a lot of points on the board for the number 16 car, as that was almost a collision with Hutton being a bit too close on the inside, but holds on to 3rd. As Ben Nisbet a little bit further behind. I'm surprised that Ben's still driving at this point. That slide was monumental. The fact that he kept it on the road is a miracle. And that was a move that I really enjoyed watching. This was turn number 1. It's absolute chaos. And Josh Nesbitt, once again, being able to pull away quite well. I think he won all 3 races last week. He's going to make it 2 out of 3 now. As we had Rick Bristow take home race number 2. Know about already checking in that DNF after the first lap. Rick Bristow now trying to recover from 13th. Being the only driver on the hard tire is never nice. Everyone else is on the softs and will get that advantage. As Mesby defending from Thibaut Geurten, as Johnson and Paris are swapping places. Purple lap for Ben Nesbitt on the 2nd time around. And he appears to be chasing down Ollie Hutton right ahead, just over a 2nd behind. The gaps are increasing. Thibaut Geurten now closest to Mesby in 5th. And Geurten being in 6th, the number 50 Vauxhall Astra. Setting in the chase. Onto the hairpin. That's a defensive move from Mesby as the cars are slowing down to a little trickle of throttle. Approaching the chicane now. And that is Geurten alongside. That's the overlap that we were looking for. And that's the position gained by Geurten. Turns in the car properly over the curb. Sends it absolutely crazy. And the Astra getting past for 5th place. Now he's got a side sit up ahead. These soft tires are the tires to make it work. These are the tires that get the temperature in them. Especially now that it's getting darker. It's getting a bit colder. 17 degrees Celsius in the air, 21 degrees Celsius on the track. Still good temperatures, but without the sun, it's just a little bit more difficult. Josh Nesbitt, I wanted to say quite far ahead, but Riquelme has caught up. And that must be the boost from the number 16 BMW. Looks like we have lost 1 BMW in the fight. We had 3 at the start of this event, and now there's only 2 left. We see Ben Nesbitt fighting with Ollie Hutton in the back as well. That was quite close on the exit of the hairpin. Let's see who gets out of that. Riquelme looking for something on the inside, doesn't get it done. And Ben Nesbitt doesn't have the same threat in his mirrors. Ollie Hutton staying behind. Looks like he's just trying to play the long game. So it looks like Ollie Hutton is being dropped back a tiny bit, and Ben Nesbitt showing his expertise, his experience. Of course, this track quite well known. Some side-by-side action as Johnson's being pushed wide by Hayes. And the Focus still ahead as it stands, but Johnson now has Bristow right alongside. He's gone past Gilbert, gone past Paris, and that's Hayes off the track. Losing 3 spots. Johnson through, Bristow through, and Paris through. Johnson now has Bristow right behind him. Race 2 winner. Looking to get back up towards P8. Johnson with boost. A little bit quicker this time around. Johnson holding on to 9th. Bristow a little bit further back. So we are currently looking at the number 40 car. William Johnson in 9th place. And well, now we've seen sights on the number 16 car, as that's Riquelme getting quite close to Nesbitt. And Josh, of course, being first in the championship standings, it means that he will not have his hands on the boost that Riquelme has. So if he's very quick and very smart, he might be able to use it at a place where he can get that overtake done and get the advantage over his opponent. Leaving the number 99 car in dust, in bits, and in pieces. At the moment, though, holding on behind. Took a little bit different lines on the exits of turn number 1. Still looking good and looking feisty. Riquelme looking for it, but just being a little bit too far behind. Approaching the halfway mark of the race, which means that Riquelme has to make it happen somewhere. That is almost sniffing the diffuser of Josh Nesbitt. Can probably ask him what it smells like after the race. The rear wing must also be looking pretty nice from the bottom as well. Being this close, must have a very good view. Riquelme not able to get past just yet. Josh Nesbitt holding on to the place. Looks like he is pushing though, using all the track available to him. Riquelme doing quite the same, as we can see there from the exit of the penultimate corner. Thibaut Geurten here in 5th place. Masby getting through. Oh, that's a small contact as well. That's Sewald, I believe. That's Masby. With Sewald right up ahead. The Hyundai receiving a small little tap. Still holding on to 5th after gaining a few places off of that. Masby now in 6th. Going the long way around, a bit too deep over the grass. Going to slow him down. He's got Begorn and Geurten right behind him. So Geurten losing a few places. Getting past 1. Has the inside line. He's going to send it quite deep. That's a slide. And he's going to hold on to it. That's only 1 place though. That's Begorn getting past Geurten up to 7th. Must be now still in 6th. Geurten almost getting a car along the outside of his through the hairpin. Holding on to 7th. Number 50 car keeping the place. Almost losing out on that, but that slide once more. We've seen them happen all the time. Begorn now towards the inside. Turn-in point already there. And Geurten losing out on 7th. And oh, that's a bit too deep there for Begorn onto the grass. A slide. Once again, good recovery. But that is a lot of time lost there. About 2 seconds already. And you're going to lose more and more time as you go onto the straight. And now it gets reverted, so that's about 2.5 seconds lost for Bicorn. 66 car. It's the Honda Civic. The only Civic on the track. Now down to 8th place. And Sewald off the back of that little tap that he had on the back straight on the last lap, 2 laps ago. It's recovered quite well. It's currently trailing Hutton by about 8 seconds and ahead of Masby by 2, or 1.5. So he should have a little bit of pressure relief from the rear. And Josh Nesbitt has the same as he's cleared Riquelme by about 2 seconds. Almost got the pressure from behind, but Ben Nesbitt just not quick enough in the previous lap. Gained about 7 tenths. He's going to have to do that for 2 or 3 more laps in order to catch up and really pass Riquelme. Bristow now with Callum Paris right behind him. Paris with the DNF from race number 2. He's now looking to recover. For Bristow, the only driver on the hard tires, should be the driver to overtake. And he is currently in 10th place. Will still get some points on the board. The points that he wants to right locking again for Masby. And he might be looking ahead to Sewald, but Hurton's just a little bit closer in the Corolla. Just not holding on as it should. There we see Sewald just absolutely disappearing. And Masby is now losing pace on Hurton, who's getting closer and closer to reaching critical stages of the race. It's more, it has solidified a little bit in the grid. The fights that we're having now is for, I want to say 5th, but realistically it's going to be 6th and 7th with Masby and Hurton. Sewald is looking to be quite clear off of this. And a little bit further back we have Bristow and Paris for 10th and 11th. And Bristow, of course, having the disadvantage of that hard compound that you have to run once in the race, or once in the evening. So we have Nesbitt, Josh Nesbitt, about 2.5, almost 3 seconds ahead of Riquelme. So the 2 BMWs currently holding on to 1st and 2nd. Josh Nesbitt really, really strong this season. So the first 2 of the 6 rounds, absolutely smashing it. At the lead of the championship, will most definitely hold on to that after this evening. Hurton past Masby. That's for 6th place. And Masby 4 seconds back in an instant. Now that means Masby must have some issues. That's a 1 minute 30. That's definitely an issue. Bicorn 2 seconds down as well. Unsure if that's contact between anyone, but that is Masby down a few places. Bicorn now a bit wide. Late apex through turn number 2. Using all of the road there. Are they both just a little bit slow now? Looking at the telemetry, it is a slow 3rd sector there for Masby. Holding on to the inside line. As he goes over the hill on towards the chicane. Bicorn a little bit further ahead. No overlap just yet. All the drivers having agreed to the new regulation addition. And Masby knowing as well, if you get alongside, you can do something, but as long as you're not alongside, you have to stick back, you have to stay behind. There's nothing that you can do. Big smoke, as we saw Sewald have a little issue. Or that's Ollie Hutton actually having a little issue as Thibaut Hurton now gets past Sewald. He's really putting the boost to use. That's a pretty quick lap from the number 50 car. Sewald now losing about 2 seconds on that previous lap. So that wasn't even the boost. That was just Sewald having an issue between Sector 2 and Sector 3. Sector 1 was quite competitive, but just having that issue on the second half of the lap. Hurton now recovering himself back to 5th place. Riquelme and Ben Nesbitt just out of reach from each other for second and third. Here we have Riquelme and Ben Nesbitt right behind. The gap just over a second, which means that you don't really have that. You don't really have the slipstream or anything that you can use. As we are approaching the final lap of the race. Bacor now under pressure. As Masby. Looks like Johnson's been joining the fight now. After Hurton's just left. Absolutely crazy style. Bacor has Masby still behind him, but Johnson and the Corolla as well is joining this fight. So the number 14 and the number 40 ganging up on this number 66 Honda Civic. I have to say, it is the more beautiful car, personally, in terms of style and livery. I just really like the Honda Civic. As Johnson now gets past Masby, and it looks like Masby has made a mistake. That's in the final turn of the penultimate lap. Masby dropping down to 9th place after starting on pole position. It's a sloppy return for that third race. And Bristow not getting any higher than 10th either. It's just crossed the finish line. Now we're looking at Johnson, who's chasing down Bacor as the leader is starting sector 3 in just a moment. That's Josh Nesbitt, number 99 car, BMW, absolutely dominating for 2 weekends straight now. So all the points going in favor of Josh Nesbitt, and he seems to be the peak contender of this championship after the first 2 rounds. Remember, next week we have Knock Hill coming up. We'll show the calendar at the end of the event. And Nesbitt, for now, blocking off Oulton with another victory under his belt. The maximum points gained here for event number 3. Riquelme holding on to 2nd place, and Ben Nesbitt getting that podium. Ollie Hutton onto a 4th place. Good recovery from the midfield starts in race number 1. Thibaut Hurton, after some unfortunate incidents throughout the weekend, brings home 5th place and a good points haul as well. So Walt up to 6th. It's a good finishing as well. Bacor 7th with Johnson right behind in 8th. Just unable to get that final spot. Masby dropping down 1 place from his starting position in race number 3. Down to 9th. Masby 1 position down from his finishing position for race 2. So from 1st to 9th, and then Bristow from 8th to 10th. Paris has gained a few spots, now in 11th place. And Hayes still defending from Gilbert as they're right ahead of the leaders who have finished the race. And these guys have to do that final lap still. Hayes, 2 more corners, 1 corner to go. Leave Gilbert behind and get that 12th place. And Gilbert had a good start as well. Good starting position from that reverse grid. Ethan Hayes doing everything he can to leave him 1 spot behind him, and that is how it's going to go. So Hayes in 12th and Gilbert in 13th. Noah Batts, unfortunately, with a DNF, as Ben Nesbitt being sent into the pit lane by Josh Nesbitt, father and son, of course, having a little fun, pushing each other into the pit lane. But Josh Nesbitt, an absolute banger of a weekend for the number 99 BMW, taking home another victory, and doing so in style. 4.7 seconds lead over Sebastian Riquelme, a driver that is a fast one as well. That's going to round up race 3 of round number 2. And that means that we get to look at the schedule for a bit, because we had Snetterton last week out. This has been Oulton Park on the island layout. Next week we have Knock Hill, where unfortunately Tom will not be. Well, he will be, but Tom O'Farrell will be in person at Knock Hill, which means that he won't be able to attend the Knock Hill event here for the BTCC 2025. He'll be there in person that weekend, which means that he won't be with us, but still should have some good racing, just like today. The drivers are getting used to the cars, and they're used to the settings, used to the rules, and they're really making some making some good moves, left, right, and center. So I believe this is all that we have time for today. So thank you all so much for joining us on the ARS Authentic Racing eSeries BTCC 2025 Championship Round 2 at Oulton Park. And we'll see you next week at Knock Hill.